Maybe if I was unseen. Yeah, there we go. And welcome to another episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, Wize. And today's guest isn't just another marketing expert. He's the man small businesses call when they've been burned and need redemption. He's the CEO of Red Palm Digital, the marketing cleanup crew for home service pros who want results that actually make sense. But what I respect most about him, he leads with his faith, he builds with purpose, and he proves that integrity and impact can coexist in business. Family, let's welcome Daniel Molina to Stuck in My Mind podcast.
Hello, hello.
Hey, man, appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, love just talking to new people and getting to know them and seeing how I can help the community out.
So, what originally pulled you toward marketing and entrepreneurship?
Man, it was kind of like not really an accident. Just as a kid, I was a military brat, and so we weren't poor. We were obviously taking care of. My dad made decent. He was decent in the military, did well. But the same token, we weren't didn't have a lot of money. So, and I was a baby of four, so hand me downs and all that. And I just kind of like believed this lie that if I want stuff that I want, then I need to make a lot of money. And so I just kind of like in my head, I'm going to go be successful and make a lot of money. Right. And so when I thought about being a lawyer or a doctor, so I'm not smart enough to do that. So I got to figure out a different way. Maybe I got to try to figure out how to be famous. Maybe that's how I'm going to make a lot of money. And I'm 46. So this is back in the 80s, right? 1980s. And so my thought process, I'm a great artist. I love to draw. I love movies. I like animation and 2D animation and all that. So I went to school at the Art Institute of Dallas to study 3D animation. I wanted to do gaming and Pixar movies, Disney movies, stuff like that. My parents invested into my career into that, but I always wanted this thing like I want to be able to afford whatever I want, have a lot of money, and maybe this is the vehicle to do such, right? And it's still my passion, drawing and art and all that. And so when I graduated, it was 2002, and that's when September 11th just happened. And so then the economy just froze. Like it was just a frozen economy, hiring freeze. No one was hiring anybody. So I graduated with no business opportunity, but I had a graphic design job at a Southwest Airlines credit union, so in-house agency. So my boss kind of taught me graphic design and marketing. I didn't even know what that, what's this marketing stuff. And so as I learned marketing through that, and she sent me to seminars and she taught me, then I'm like, ooh, I like marketing. It helps people. It helps people make money. It helps get a story out there. And I'm a natural evangelist. I like to evangelize whether for God or evangelize for a product or a service. Like I just love telling people about awesome stuff. And so that's kind of what started me into it. And I realized that when I was chasing the money, I always was broke. Paycheck to paycheck, didn't make anything. When I started just chasing the passion and just the love of just doing it, then the money came. So I kind of had it reversed, right? And when I started to not just try to swing at everything. So anyway, so it's a very long answer because there's so much involved. But marketing wasn't like something all my life I wanted to do marketing. I fell upon it, loved it, used some of my skills of art because I was a one-man show where I had graphic design, I did web development, I did writing, I did it all, right? And then now I have a team, but I love helping people, and marketing was just the form of which I did that.
Awesome. So how did your faith shape the way you lead Red Palm Digital?
Yeah, I think early on I was a salesman. Like I was a good salesman. I used to sell Kirby vacuum cleaners. Those $2,000 vacuum cleaners.
Yeah.
Well back then it was right, and so you can go buy a $200 vacuum cleaner. So I was always a good I could just sell stuff, right? But I just didn't like the way I feel because a lot of those sales taxes could tend to be a little bit in the gray area of a manipulation of understanding the psyche of a human being. And so I didn't like the way I feel. I'm like, man, I want to take advantage of people. So I felt like I need to start building relationships, and not and networking was another thing I had a problem with because almost like, hey, I'm going to tell you who I am, you tell me who you are, and we can see if we're compatible and we can do stuff together, which is not altogether bad, but it just felt like scratch my back and I'll scratch yours, which is not the way the faith, at least my Christian background teaches, is like, hey, I'll scratch your back if you do nothing for me, right? So then I started changing the way I operated my business of like just building relationships. So in these discovery meetings I would have with clients, I would just tell them, "Hey, here's what's wrong with your website. Here's what I would do for free." So $1,000 worth of just information, I would tell them for free. Whether you use me or not, you'll make money if you listen to me and do these things. And I just started giving information for free. I just started helping people, not for free, but helping people as far as like knowledge and information about their company and just build relationships, right? I was never trying to see how I can make more money from people. I was always saying, hey, if you need this, I'm going to give it to you. If you don't need it, I'm not going to sell it to you. I know I could easily sell it to you and fool you to believe that you need it, but I'm not going to do that. So my faith just start trying to have integrity and even how I sell and how I operate my company to be very relational and very serving, even though obviously I work for money, but only sell people what they need and then obviously show results of which, that way they see, okay, it's working, right? And so I would say that would be, so I don't really network. I build relationships, and whether you can help me or not would not be contingent on if we're going to be friends or not. It's like, I'm going to help you regardless, if I have the time, right?
No, absolutely. It's important, and networking is very important. But like you said, for me, it is more personal. When I connect with people, and the relationships I've built have been to the point where I've been able to build lifelong friendships with a lot of people that I've networked with. That people that it's not we're not doing stuff because we're getting something in return. We're just doing stuff out of just the sheer love and respect for that other person. So
Yeah, agree.
whenever I collaborate with one of my good friends, Jeff Ravilla, we collaborate because it's not because it's transactional. It's because we both love what we do, and we've built a friendship and a relationship where when he's doing something, I'm the first one to cheer him on and promote and share, and then when I got ideas and I toss them at him, and he's like, I like that. What can I do to help you progress in this? So it's those relationships that I love, that I appreciate the most, because we're not expecting anything from each other, but we're still we just give to each other, and that's the best form of relationships, is where both teams are just giving back, when just that transfer of energy of helping each other out, and uplifting each other, and there's no competition.
Yeah, it's like I love that, no competition. It's a response to love rather than a demand of expectation, right? So my response, if you helping me, I want to help you back. Not that you're demanding it or requesting it. It's just that, man, you help me, man, I'm gonna take care of you. So and that's more built on relationship versus off the bat, like you said, it's transactional. So I love that. Yeah, 100%.
So you've been open about prioritizing family over fame. What does balance look like for you?
Yeah, that question, a lot of people see it as a pendulum or a just scale thing, right? The balance of life and family and friends and ministry and all this stuff, right? I don't see it that way because technically you cannot balance it out. People work 40 hours a week. The average family sees their kids 1.7 hours a day out of the full 24 hours, right? And then that's for the moms. The dad sees their kids about average of 1.2 to 1.5 hours a day. So there's no way there's enough time in the day to balance everything, right? So you can't look at it as balance, because I think when you look at it balance, you're gonna be very frustrated. You're going to be very disappointed, and it's just impossible. And I understand the 40,000 foot view of what they're saying of balance. I'm not saying, there's nuance to that. The way I like to say is, what are you intentional about? And then when you're intentional about it, be in that moment 100% of your attention, right? And so if you're going to be there for that 1.7 hours in front of your kids, don't be on your phone, don't go watch a movie, don't be distracted. Like, be there 100% with your attention with your child or children or your wife on date night or whatever it is, your friend, whoever you're in front of, if you're learning, if you're reading a book, be 100% there, and then you'll maximize those times where then it balances all out versus like being fragmented and not being intentional of those times. I think that's a better way of looking at it. Not that balance is bad, but it's just hard. It's just, again, I'm spending way more time working than I am hanging out with my family.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah,
now,
I spend more time with my coworkers than I do with my wife. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, right, exactly. The case in point, right? And so when you are with your wife, what are you doing? Are
Mm.
you are you intentional? Are you trying to veg out because you had a hard day, which is understandable. Sometimes we want to just like, I don't want to think anymore. I don't want to deal with any more problems. I just want to just focus on just chilling. You know,
Yeah.
but it's unfair for your bride, your wife, because she didn't get to have you right for the day. And so, and I'm not saying it's got to every single day, but I'm just saying like it's more on the moments that you're with that person, be more intentional about it. And then sometimes, hey, just watch a movie today because or a show. My mind is just, I had a hard day. And then sometimes like, hey, let's play a game. Sometimes like, hey, let's have a conversation. Let's go out to eat. Right. And so just be more proactive about it versus just going with the flow and like not knowing, because we're not like that with our company. We're like researching, trying to figure out, be offensive and not defensive. We're trying to like build companies. Well,
Yeah.
then that same energy and attention should be in your relationship with your kids, relationship with your spouse, relationship with your friends. Like, how do we make this better? How do we grow and see fruit from this experience for we mutual fruit, not just I'm only gaining from it, but how we mutually see fruit from it. And that's being intentional.
Absolutely. So what's one of the biggest misconceptions people have about marketing today?
I mean, like you could just turn it on and all of a sudden things will start working. You know, I'm going to hire a marketing company. I'm going to spend a lot of money or 5 grand or 10 grand a month, and I'm going to start seeing results. Right. I think people have this conception of that, and really it just depends on what it is. Right. It depends. It's like marketing. It's like saying, I'm a farmer. Well, what do you farm? There's so many things you could farm, right? And then how you farm and where you farm and the climate and, and how do you prepare to farm? And, there's so many variables and different things, right? That what would determine the success of how you farm or the fruit of your farm. And so same thing, marketing is not all the same and it's all different. And everyone thinks they're the professional and they're, they got the PhD and the master degree. But if you're in digital marketing and you're honest with yourself, you're just a practitioner. You're not a professional. Just like physicians are practitioners, they're not professionals because what if some new disease or maybe they found some cool science breaking evidence that this is better than the way we used to do it, right? So then they have to change of what they used to say because now we have breaking technology that can heal things. And so the same thing with marketing, right? It's like, with AI and Google SEO and PPC AdWords and LSA ads and, Angie's List being bought out by, Home Advisor or whatever, marketing's landscape's always changing. The climate's always changing. And so we're just practitioners on what we're doing, and we're testing and A/B testing and checking and adjusting, and now we got to figure out how we use AI and be nice with AI because our companies that we're marketing for has to show up everywhere, right? In other words, they got to be in front of customers, right? And so the misconception is just hire any marketing company and it's going to work tomorrow. It is a 90-day, 6 months process. And it's going to be a slow grow. If you try to spike up, then you're going to fall down just as fast because that's based off of wherever you're paying ads. Just you put your stuff in the front. You got $20,000. I'm just gonna put ads, and then I'm gonna always be there. Well, then what happens when Google makes a change like they did, where PPC ads? I don't know if your followers know what that is. Google AdWords. All of a sudden, there's Google local service ads, and so people spending all this money there. Now Google local service ads went like this, and Google puts priority on that. And if you have all your eggs in the basket with ads, now you drop because you didn't have a good, well-rounded strategy of SEO, Google local service ads, Facebook ads, Facebook marketing, video marketing. You got to have really well-rounded. And so the misconception is just like, again, people think you can turn it on and it grows, and then not allowing time to for campaigns to work so that you can see the fruit of it.
Yeah, they don't see results quickly, and I guess they start pulling ads, right? So instead of really focusing on letting it grow and develop,
Yeah.
they don't see the fruit, they don't see the benefit right now, so they want to already snatch it. So that's that's the problem that we have nowadays, where people want to see instant gratification.
Yeah.
They
And
don't.
it's rooted in fear. It's
Yeah,
rooted in fear. I'm scared I'm going to lose money. I'm scared my company's going to go under. If you hired a marketing company and you trusted them when you sign up, then trust them. let them produce the results. Alex Hormozy says your honeymoon period is like the first or second month, and that's it. And then now every single month after that, you got to try to earn to keep them. And it's like, and it sucks that that's the relationship between marketing company and business, because I tell my clients, like, look, I don't want this. I'm against you. I'm trying to find a way to make money off of you. I want this to be a partnership. I want to be your left hand or right hand, an arm extension or an arm of your company where we're working together and we're partnering together. We're not against each other. I'm not trying to prove myself every single month. Because when that relationship is just pressure and the energy have is fear that I'm going to lose you, nothing productive is going to happen, because I'm just pressured to try to figure things out. But if we have a working relationship where I'm here to help you and I'm not trying to take advantage of you, there's no pressure, and you're at least going to give me a year, then there's trust. Then now we can try things and try to do marketing things that work, right? And so instead of this pressure of like, well, that didn't work, let's try that and let's try that, and then you're not going to grow.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what moment made you realize that this was your calling? This is what you wanted to do. You wanted to be able to help small businesses and people grow, and you wanted to do it ethically and honestly. Like what made you want to do this?
It was I was working for a small boutique agency, and I think I was making $35 an hour back in like 2006. And I was like, but then I found out she was billing at 150. And I'm like, hold on. Like, I get it. You're running the company, you have the risk, you're the one bringing in the clients. So I get you're worth that. But man, I wanted to skip the middleman and try to get there. $150 an hour sounds great. And that's when I went on my own and started having my own agency and trying to, I didn't bill at 150. I had to work my way to, have that value. But I went on my own, and that's when I realized I can do this. And then when I started seeing fruit from my efforts, I started with my friends. Hey, you own this business. Can I do your stuff for free for 6 months and show you what I got? And then when I started producing results, then they started paying for it. And then I saw another company. Hey, instead of charging you $2,000, I'll charge you $500 to do this. And I showed fruit. Now I have a portfolio, and now I have a track record. Then I can start selling that track record and ask for the right price, and I don't have to go discount because I was able to show, my work. And so ever since then, I loved doing what I'm doing, because again, I love helping people. And when I saw results, it was gratifying. And the second part of that too was just helping people. And for me, by me helping small business owners, it helps employ other people, which then helps provide income for people. Right. And so if they're successful, it's helping the economy out, because if you're a local salon or a local restaurant or a local physician, whatever, you're providing income for other people because you're employing people, which is great for the company. And it's not just helping the business owner, but it's helping communities by providing great service for the community. You provide income and all that. Right. So it was just so much rewards, or rather a rewarding experience being a marketer, because if you look at it that way, then it's a positive outlet. And even for my own company, like I get to employ people, right? And so that's fun.
So you've seen many clients come with bad marketing experiences. What are the biggest mistakes you see people are doing when they have these experiences?
A lot of times is, depending on the company, right? It's they're good at whatever they're doing. If they're a doctor, they're a restaurant owner, they're a hair salon, they're an insurance company, plumber. They're good at what they're doing. Whatever trade or
Service, yeah.
service they do, right? But what they sometimes are not so good is in understanding some business aspects like ROI and just like, if I'm putting money into this thing, is it paying me back money? And so they just kind of trust a marketing company and say, I'll give you $5,000 and I should see a percentage of growth. Instead, I'll ask them, hey, well, how much does it cost you per customer that comes to the door? How much does it cost you? Well, I don't know. Do you know where your customers are coming from? I don't know. Do you know what your average ticket is? What are you making per customer? I don't know. Yeah, so it's like, wait, what? And so they just trust the marketing company without any quantifying matrix to even validate why they're spending the money. So if you're spending money with us, we're going to say, hey, this campaign is generating X amount of dollars and it's costing you this much to acquire a customer. So then they know, okay, if it's costing me $100 to acquire a customer, I'm making $1,000 per customer. Then that means if I see 10 customers, I'm making 10 grand on average, right? So then if I'm spending $3,000 and I'm making 10,000, or I'm making 50,000, or I'm making 100,000, that's a good ROI. I'm
Yeah.
making pretty dang good money. Can I give you more money to make more of that, right? And so I think the most common thing is a lot of people don't know what they're getting from their marketing company, which then hurts them. And then they can't make business decisions on knowing where to spend their money, where there's ads, where there's LSA, where there's in radio, TV, billboards, postcards, right? Magazine covers, who knows, right? But if you don't understand and you can't track all of that, you won't know. And so I think the number one thing I see when we're having discovering calls is a lot of people don't even know those simple things that should help you grow and pull levers to know where to grow, right?
Yeah. So how do you rebuild trust with those clients? How do you get them to to trust what you're doing? Because like they have to, like I said, they got burned, and now you have to come in and show them like, nah, this is the way I do it. This is the proper way, and you can trust what I'm doing.
Yeah, some of it could be call my customers. I mean, my shelf life or churn rate is what people call is like 6%. And so I have a small back door. And so my clients are staying with me for 7, 8, 9. I had a customer with me for 14 years. And so I tell them that, and then we're month to month, and we've always been month to month. So we're not going to try to get you in a contract and force you to sign, which then shows. And so if I have a month to month client that's been with me for 8 years, 14 years, then that's saying a lot, right? And then they have access to call that client and see how our relationship was. And so, and then obviously case studies and showing them data. And a lot, 9 times out of 10, really, what happens is I ended up in our discovery call, I would show them things that nobody has ever showed them. I would like, man, you know what, Daniel? Like, I kind of know what SEO is, and people tell me, but the way you described it was no one's ever described it that way in the way you did. So I feel more educated. I feel more empowered to make decisions because of the information you just gave me. Whether on PPC, Facebook ads, like I give the science or the art behind why those different mediums are different and why it works and how it works. And for some reason, I thought that's normal for marketing companies to educate their clients. And a long time. And then what I'm finding out is most marketing companies are just saying, hey, you need to do SEO, PPC, and just give me this money and we'll just give you calls. And they don't explain why it's important. And so where for me, I say why it's important so that they understand how much money they're spending in whatever campaign. And then they understand, like in the future, if they want to grow, which campaign they want to grow in because they understand how it works. Right. And so when I come back to it and say, hey, we're spending $2,000 SEO, I think we need to add another $2,000 and hit this market. They understand it. Not me just saying, hey, give me more money so we can get you more calls. Right. Because then they're like, that's kind of shady. Like, why? Well, just trust me. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times the difference in the difference in how I am and how other companies are is that I just educate people more than most people, and then they just feel more empowered. Right? The more education you have, the more power you have to make better decisions.
Mhm. Absolutely. So, what? How do you keep marketing human in such a data-driven industry, especially with everything with AI and everything?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, people still want to talk to people.
Mhm.
And so I mean, I did see something on Instagram today where it's ridiculous. Someone in China or Korea married their ChatGPT agent or something like that. It was stupid, man. Oh my god, bro. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with people? Uh, I don't think we're there yet. I think people still want to deal with people. I think the human experience cannot be replaced. And that girl, poor little girl, is going to leave empty. because we were made to connect with one another and feel our presence and energy, and and a robot's not going to give you that. So you're going to feel alone, you're going to get depressed eventually, you got it right. And it's not that I'm damning her relationship, it's just like that's just the human experience. And so with AI, even like think about this, bro. When AI first came out, Mid-Journey, ChatGPT, and even like these images, like these cool AI images, like it kind of exploded, and people were like, cool. But early on, a lot of VCs and people started pulling money away from it because they didn't know how to make money. No one cared. It was kind of like a cool trick,
Yeah.
but there was no like real case for it, right? And then people are noticing what looks like AI and what doesn't, right? Where now it's getting better, but it was just not. People want to, people want natural art form from humans. They're not impressed that an AI can create a cool drawing. Like, okay, so what? I want to know that a human spent 10 years trying to master their trade, and then boom, they were able to create this beautiful masterpiece. That's still in our nature, right? And so when it comes to marketing, just keep feeding into that human experience. That now, do we use AI to operate and do things? Of course. Do we use AI images here and there? Of course. But don't skip out on the natural human experience. Meaning, like when they go to your site, they want you to like, why should I purchase from you? What's your value proposition? Right? If you're telling me you're awesome, but why? Or do you have reviews telling people people saying you're awesome? Right? Because I can use ChatGPT to write this, or Perplexity or Grok to write this beautiful article about how we're awesome, but people don't care. They want to hear from other people why you're awesome, and then they'll buy. You see what I'm saying? So AI has not conquered that, and I don't see it conquering anytime soon. I think we're far away from that. So I think just try to make it as your marketing experience as human as possible, and you'll continue to see conversion.
So, how do you define ethical marketing in today's world?
That's hard because it depends on your worldview, right? If you're not a
Yeah.
Christian, who cares? It's like, let's make money, right? If you're Muslim or Buddhist, or they all have different worldviews, and so it's hard to answer that question ethically, because then what's the baseline? Who's the judge? What's the stick we're measuring it with? And depending on your worldview of what's ethical could be different, it's relative. For me, I don't think it's relative. I think ethical is treat other people like the way you want to be treated, love people, be kind. I could sue a lot of people. I don't sue people who owe me money because I just live a different worldview. And so I think just be true, be truthful in your marketing. Don't stay away from Ponzi schemes. Stay away from anything that looks too good to be true. And I study the psyche of a human being because I want to understand how they buy and why they buy, right?
Yeah.
And me having words and images to try to reach more people because I feel like they need this service. I don't think that's unethical. Now, if I'm manipulating people to know that this service sucks, but I'm still trying to sell them and use all those marketing tactics to get them, then I think that's unethical. You're just trying to make money,
Yeah.
right? And your front door is as big as your back door, right? And so I think ethics, it just depends. There's so much involved in it. There's ethical, how you run your company, how you treat your employees, and so I think in marketing is like, if you believe in your product and you're telling the truth and you have real case study of why that service or product is good, then you can use the understanding and psychology of humans to sell the product, because you're helping them. You're not manipulating them, you're helping them. But when you're using all those, like, the psychology of humans to then just make a big quick buck and sell them crappy stuff, I think that's unethical.
Yeah. Absolutely. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs trying to grow without selling their soul? Like, they just want to grow naturally with just still being able to feel good about themselves and be able to look in the mirror.
Can you ask that question again? I'm sorry.
What advice do you have for entrepreneurs trying to grow without selling their soul?
Yeah. So I think it's the why. Like, why are you doing what you're doing?
Mm.
If you're just doing it to make money, there's so many ways to make money. and it's not going to solve your problem. It's not going to feel whatever you think you're going to feel. And it's not like it's me saying it. Like, you can look at it from celebrities to rich people to, professional sports. You look at these people who have 10 million, 20 million, $100 million contracts, and they have everything and anything they ever wanted, and they just leave empty. They just feel like they given their all to all these things, and they've literally lost themselves, their souls, is how I say,
Yeah.
right? And so I think the why is so important. And once you figure out the why, if the why is not contingent on pleasures of life, then I think you're good. Because if you're just trying to seek the pleasures of life, then that's going to get boring really fast. Think about the guy, I forgot his name, Daniel something. He was a poker player, made millions. Like, he slept with all kinds of girls. His Instagram was like always like 5, 6 girls around. I forgot his name. Bro, he came out, I think this year. He said he left it all that. He found one girl, and now he says when he would sleep with 3 or 4 people, it would be a bad day. That's what he said. And he's not ugly. Like, he's like sleeping with supermodels, private jets, cars, houses, like
But
anything
yeah,
money, like the modern day King Solomon,
and
like
it's not
just
fulfilling. Yeah,
had it all,
but it wasn't
right?
fulfilling though. Like
It wasn't fulfilling.
yeah, you can do all that and you want, but if you within yourself don't find it fulfilling, don't find it like we're close in age. I just turned 49 in July,
Oh, crap.
and so for me, I didn't discover my true purpose till I was 44 years old. Right, like I didn't know what I wanted to do with life. Like, yes, I have a job that pays well, but it wasn't fulfilling. It wasn't what was making me happy. It wasn't until I discovered that I had a voice, and I started doing the podcast, and I started these conversations, and started just being able to to just express myself, and talk about whatever was going on at that time. It made me realize, like, okay, I have something here. This is something, like, I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing in life. And then when I started talking, and people started sending me messages like, yo, thank you for that episode. I needed to hear this, or whatever it was. It made me feel like, all right, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing something that's, am I doing it for money? No, I'm doing this because I love to do it. I love to have these conversations. It's important for people like yourself to come on and have these conversations, and people hear these stories, and see that there's people out here that are living good lives, and doing the right thing, and still succeeding at business, and still succeeding at life. And regardless of whatever hardships we go through in life, we can overcome these obstacles.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, and that's what that guy came to realize, is that this is all empty and it sucks and it doesn't fulfill. And now he's like did a 180. I'm not saying he's a Christian now, but he just did a 180, and now he's trying to help people. And so I think what I heard and what you're saying is, when I like to say, if you live this life and all you worry about is what you can get out of this life, then you're not going to go far. But you're going to leave empty, and you're going to sell your soul because you're just trying to see what you can maximize. If you're living this life and you're seeing what you can give and serve, then you're going to have a way more fulfilling life, and money sometimes can come from that.
Yeah,
And fulfillment. And I'm not saying, you know, money is always going to come, but the fulfillment and the peace that you have from that is worth more than any money can give you. So, so that's what I would say, is like, just find out the why are you doing it. And obviously everyone's worldview is different, but my why is, and my purpose, is why I continue to have peace and joy. I don't ever try to sell my soul just because I'm trying to make money.
yeah.
I've seen that. I read those books. I've seen those movies and want nothing to do with it.
So where do you see faith and business intersecting in the next decade?
Man, that's a hard question, because in one hand, they're saying in the younger generation, the alpha generation, are running to faith more than ever. And more than millennials, more than Z. they're like running to faith. And so, all these young mind people that go into faith, opening up businesses and entrepreneurship, are they going to bring faith into business? I don't know. It seems like they're just super excited and have the zeal of Christianity and faith. And so I could see a more, you know, I'm not saying that Christians are the only faith that do things with integrity and good ethics, but um, for the most part, I would say if you were to follow the faith, then the expression of how you run your company should have good values, right? And so I hope that those people would run their companies with those good values, so then the community can benefit. But there's cases where sometimes Christians screw you just like anybody else, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that the world's going to be better because now all these people are going to learn Jesus and they're going to go. I mean, they now know Jesus, now they're going to run their companies. But I just think like faith, anybody's faith, whatever you believe in, is going to affect your business. It's going to affect how you run it.
Yeah.
And so I just think, for me, it's how I run my company, and I've seen fruit from it. And because I run a successful company, I'm able to now to pour into the community, right? I have a nonprofit that I pour into. And so because I'm successful here, now my nonprofit could benefit, which then helps the community, right? And so I hope that more public service and nonprofits will get more money from these people that are now have faith-based businesses, so that people in need, the widows, the orphans, drug addicts, mental health, whatever it is, can get the help they need. And not always just depending on federal and state government to help them, but let the community help too as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's important that and I think that's what we've gone away from as a society, is growing as a community. Because I remember growing up, like we knew, like where I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn, and it was uh, it was during the '80s, obviously the crack epidemic and all that, but there was still a sense of community, right? Like I couldn't do nothing at the end of the block without my mom knowing by the time I got home. Why?
Yeah.
Because someone on the block saw me doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, and so before I got home, and we didn't have this before cell phones, and this is rotary phones and all that. So, but somehow before you got home, you were there, the message was already delivered. So, to me, now especially now with the way it is digital and everything, I'm seeing that it's important that you start building these communities, be it virtually or whatever it is, because it's something that we need. It's something that we're able, when you're able to build these communities and network with all these wonderful people and be able to help and uplift each other, it's just so much easier. It's
Yeah.
easier when we're all backing each other and pushing each other up, instead of one of us just pushing each other up, pushing one person up.
Yeah. I love that. And you're right. It's my sister-in-law. She's from Brooklyn. She's Puerto Rican. Call her New Yorican. But it's important, for me, like a lot of times, well, if my worldview is not the same, then how can we work together? Well, we can all agree to love. If we can just define what love is, and love is, for me, my definition is love is to contend for the highest possible good in every situation until it's a reality, right? If everyone can agree with that, then let's just do that, right? And if you want to ask my questions of what I agree or disagree about political or social issues, that could be another conversation, but not let it divide us. Like in the 80s and 90s, you can share your political or social
And when
views.
there's nonsense that is going on now, yeah.
Yeah, and it was fine. We were still cool. Let's go New York Yankees, or let's go to New York Giants, right? Who cares, right? It's okay, whatever. We're still friends, play soccer and baseball together. Where now it's like families are canceling each other
Mhm.
because it's like like God
'Cause,
forbid
yeah,
we have a difference of opinion.
because you're red, I'm blue, or this, what?
Yeah, it's
Like I'm
stupid.
not, even I be at work and the people I'm like, yo, y'all both realize that both sides are back there counting the money, and they're here celebrating us fighting and the division between us.
Yeah,
Why? Because you're a Democrat, because you're a Republican. It don't make sense. It's like all they want. If people realize that the strategy is to divide and conquer. So when they have us divided, we're so much easier to conquer, and that's what's happening. is to
We're
do
easier to control.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Absolutely.
it's less people and it's more the war of information is what it is. It's just
Mhm.
like yeah, so yeah, I agree. Like I live, I'm a conservative, but I live in a very liberal state and I have lots of friends that are liberal and 'cause I don't care. It's like, man, we're friends. Like, how would I help you? How can I help you? How do I extend your reach? How do I make you successful in what you're doing? Like regardless of your political background. And so anyway, so to your point, it's like now the reason why you don't see what you see in the community where, like you said, like the community help, raise kids is because of the division that we have. And,
Right,
and so, and in digital, right? Digital, like it keeps us at home and we're not riding bikes outside anymore. We're not
right.
playing baseball and, the fields are empty unless there's a game. Growing up, me and you were at the basketball courts, we were at the baseball fields, we were at the soccer fields just playing, regardless if there's practice or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a different world for sure.
Okay, so what's next for Red Palm and for Danny Molina, the man behind the mission? What's next for you?
Yeah, man. So I'm actually about to launch a book in December called Beyond the American Dream: How to Achieve Success Without Losing Your Soul. And it's just a story of my journey of where I am today. A lot of people want to have coffee with me and say, "Hey, Danny, how do you do? How do you do it?" And it's like I'm only one person, and so this will be an easy way to say, "Hey, just read this book," and this is my life and how I did it. And really, my best friend Kenyon Coleman, he played in the NFL for 11 years. He actually played for the Jets in your neck of woods, for a couple years. And he says, Daniel, your life, I mean, I've been around professional athletes, celebrities, I've been around a lot of successful people, and your story is so unique that you need to write about it, bro. You need to write a book about it. And I just took his advice and said, all right, I'll do it. And so I wrote a book, started 2 years ago, and it's about to come out. So I'm going to try to start doing tours and talk about the books, go to churches, entrepreneur events, and just share, how do you become successful and not end up at the end of that success losing your marriage, losing your family, losing your friends because you were just so, so like consumed with just doing the thing right here in front of you versus being able to see everything to that balance that you were talking about. You
Yeah.
missed the intentionality of everything. So you got the success, but you don't even know your kids. You got your success, but you don't even know your wife. Right. And so there's one guy, I'm not going to call him out, but there's one guy who was famous. He achieved all kinds of cool things. But his daughter came out and says, yeah, he achieved all that stuff, but he's a jerk of a dad and a jerk of a husband. Right. So he achieves his success and people want to learn from him. People learn from him, but he's lost his marriage. He lost his daughter, his relationship. Like when you're an old man and you no longer can do the things that you can do and you're 60, 70 years old and now you got your family to fall back on, they're not going to be there because you chased this dream that you wanted and you got what you wanted, but then you lost everything that even means anything to you. So
Yeah.
my book is just my journey on that. So really that's next. And then Red Palm obviously is just growing more clients, helping other people. We used to only do the trade, so plumbers, electrician, heating and air companies, but now we opened it back up to where now we do hair salons, restaurants, we do physicians, lawyers. And so now we're trying to say, okay, let's bring it up more and help more people in different verticals.
Absolutely. Oh, Danny, this has been a wonderful conversation, man. Thank you for being such a great guest. I appreciate your time. Now we've come to the part where you're gonna get the spotlight and plug away, let them know website, everything. Just go ahead and plug away, brother.
Yeah. The number one website you can actually go to see everything is danielmolina.life. And that has my businesses, my nonprofit, my book, and everything that I'm doing. And so it's really easy there. And then my Instagram account, which is where usually a lot of people are engaging, is Daniel Molina Life. And then, obviously we're on Facebook and all that. But if you just go danielmolina.life, you'll get access to all that stuff. So yeah.
Thank you, Danny, for being such a great guest, man. I appreciate it. But don't leave just yet. Let me close out the show and we'll chat a little bit off the air. But thank you so much, brother, man. I appreciate your time and thank you, man. This was a really good episode. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, everybody. Another great episode is in the books. But if today's episode reminded you that good business still starts with good values, go connect with Daniel and his team at Red Palm Digital. Or follow him on social to learn how to build marketing that matters And don't forget, share this episode with a fellow entrepreneur who's ready to grow with integrity, because when purpose leads the plan, the profits follow. So you know how your boy Wize does it. Peace out.